here in New York or the Irrawaddy River half the world away. Rivers provide valuable resource to wildlife. As we head to the first meadow, we're looking for 2 deer species and an antelope species. And instead we find India's national bird, the peafowl. You know, only the males are called peacocks. The females are called peahens. They get together and they make baby pea chicks. The males have the blue heads, females have the green. This time of year, if you see a peacock with a blue head and all those back feathers, he's a bachelor. They lose those feathers after mating. In the center here, we have a large honey-colored deer called the Barasinga. The word Barasinga gets their name from the male's antlers. The word Barasinga means 12-tined in the Hindi language. Males can have 12 to 14 points on their antlers. Coming up, we have some conservation huts that tell an important story about those Barasinga deer, who numbered less than 100 not that long ago.
In 1970, there were estimated to be only 66 of the Barasinga deer remaining in central India. But this population was saved by the cooperation of the local Indian community. Like the shacks you see here, there were many small farms using space in and around India's Kanha National Park. These people were coming into contact with the deer and the tigers that were also living there. Through cooperation with the Indian government, local communities agreed to relocate their villages. By moving, the farmers still had land to farm, but the tigers and their prey got more room to roam.
Now we all know that an animal that's extinct is no longer with us, like the dinosaur or the dodo bird. The animals in our next enclosure were completely extinct in nature and can only be found in captivity. We're talking about the Mongolian wild horse. While there are genetic differences between wild horses and domestic horses, there are physical differences as well. They're shorter and stockier in build. They've got an erect mane that's lacking the forelock, the piece of mane that falls between the eyes of a domestic horse. They're rocking the mohawk. They were born genetically awesome. Captive breeding of Mongolian wild horses began in 1901 with a herd of only 28 animals. The Bronx Zoo received our first herd in 1902, and we have maintained that herd ever since. We're also happy to report that Mongolian wild horses are being reintroduced into the wilds of Mongolia and southern China from both North American and Asian zoos. We've got a long and varied history with this horse, dates back over 20,000 years. I have some of that for you right here.
The first accounts of Mongolian wild horses come from rock engravings, paintings, and even cave drawings that date back more than 20,000 years. And the first written accounts were from Tibet, sometime around 900 AD. But these horses remained largely unknown and unnamed to the Western world for many years. During an expedition to Central Asia in 1879, a famous Russian explorer and naturalist, Colonel Nikolai Przewalski, encountered the horse in western Mongolia. Because of his discovery, this species is also known as Przewalski's horse.
Even though our professional researchers sometimes have difficulty spotting the animals they wish to study in the wild, both Dylan and myself will be able to pinpoint the animals for you in our exhibits today, even if they're not necessarily in plain sight. It's not difficult to do if you'd like to try. Just put yourself in their hooves and figure out where you would go for a shady spot to rest or a little grazing time. When we reach the top of this hill, we'll be on the lookout for 2 endangered species, the brow antler deer and the gaur.
Era gaur? Acabou a bateria?
Não, tô esquentando muito, velho. Ele é de alumínio, só tô esquentando demais.
Não sei se vai ter espaço.
They too have migrated to the far side of the enclosure. Someone forgot to tell them it's a weekend and they all went to bed. That's it, there's a lone brow antler deer up the top of the hill there. They get their name from the male's antlers that resemble 2 bushy eyebrows coming up out of the top of their head. They're currently classified as vulnerable, as all of their habitat has been taken over for farmland in their native Cambodia. The other animals are the gaur, the world's largest wild cattle. Males stand 6 feet at the shoulder and weigh 6 feet at shoulder, 10 feet long, and weigh 2,000 pounds. With its incredible size and horns, a gaur can take on anything, even a tiger What threatens these beautiful creatures is lack of an Asian habitat and diseases they catch from domestic cattle. You can see a few on top of the hillside. You can see them much, much closer and better when we get to the other side of the hill. You'll be really up close and personal with the gaur in about 5 minutes. They're both part of our species survival plan, and here's more on that.
Here at the zoo, we help gaur and brown-antlered deer and many other species by participating in cooperative zoo management programs called species survival plans. The name says it all. The plans aim to help these animals survive. Zoos across the country work together to maintain genetically diverse populations of rare and endangered species.
Easy to forget sometimes that the Bronx Zoo sits in the heart of an urban setting. But shortly behind you, you're going to hear the roar of traffic on the Bronx River Parkway, as if the fire engines weren't enough convincing. Even though, ironically, we're traveling faster than the southbound lane at this time. The large wooden fence in front of you obstructing your view is put there to keep back that traffic noise and help our animals feel more at home and calm. This is especially important since in the next exhibit, we're on the lookout for a tiger. Once again, please remain seated with all body parts inside the train. Tiger sights provide excellent camouflage. Sometimes we have difficulty spotting him, but I've spotted him, so I'm going to speed up to catch up with him. He's on the far side, up on the hill. In the wild, tigers will eat wild pig and deer, and pig he will. He'll eat 40 pounds of meat in one setting, and then not eat again for 3 days. That's equivalent of 160 hamburgers to you and I. If you eat 160 hamburgers, you wouldn't eat for 3 days either. With less than 3,000 tigers remaining in the wild, and only 1,000 of them being breeding females, we're working with an organization called Panthera to increase this number. Tiger stripes are like fingerprints, no two are alike. That's how we tell our tigers apart. And they're solitary creatures that prefer to live alone. That's why you'll only see one at a time on display here at the Wild Asia Monorail. You can see more tigers and learn about our conservation efforts by visiting Tiger Mountain, a short shuttle ride from the monorail. This is Yuri. He's a 5-year-old, 350-pound Siberian or Amur tiger. In the next 5 years, he will double in size to his full adult weight of 700 pounds. As promised, here are the gaur up close and personal. The second one in, that's our alpha male. His name is Eddie Gaur. Eddie has soured more than 13 calves here at the Bronx Zoo as part of our species survival plan. As he passes second tree, look up the hill, that little light brown one, coming down the hill now next to his mother. He's less than 2 months old. No, not the dark brown one. He's a year old. Behind him, the light brown one. All the babies are together right now. You got 2 little light brown ones. They were born last year. Or chocolate ones were last year, and then the little light brown one was born a month and 2 days ago. We're now at the back of the first meadow. Those little guys with the white bellies lying in the sun are black buck antelope, the smallest antelope species in Asia. Fully grown, 3.5 feet at the shoulder. Males have horns, females do not. Little deer with the white spots on them are axis deer. The axis deer have the distinction of keeping their spots their entire adult lives. While most deer species are born with spots and they fade, they keep their spots. And down here we have some more Barasinga. There's even a baby Barasinga there. She's a year old. They're the ones we heard the conservation story about back at the huts. They're also called swamp deer, as they have a splayed hoof, and as you can see, they prefer the mud to the grass. Imagine a pig that has tusks that protrude up through its snout and back towards its eyes. This pig is called the babarusa. The word babarusa means pig deer in the Malay language, as the natives thought that his tusks resembled deer antlers. We're going to come into a bamboo thicket. Look through the bamboo in the first thicket, and we're going to find Hillary, our female, walking right to left. Right there. And in the second enclosure, we're looking for Hickory, our male, with those impressive tusks. Right there by the tree. To the right, Asia's version of Pumbaa. They hail from the island of Sulawesi and are highly endangered. If you didn't see the Babarusa, have no fear, you will definitely see our next two lovely ladies. They're very close to the train. So once again, no standing or loud noises, as we do not wish to startle them. I think we already did, they're running. This is Patty and Maxine, our Asian elephants. They are 43 years of age and weigh just over 10,000 pounds. They eat fruits, vegetables, 200 pounds of hay, and 60 gallons of water each day. The elephant's trunk is an incredible tool with over 40,000 muscles in it. That's more than the entire human body. It's got a finger-like appendage at the end. With it, they can pick up an egg without breaking it, or tear down a small tree with great force. Don't let the wrinkles fool you. These are two pampered ladies. Twice a week, they receive baths and pedicures. As we say goodbye to Patty and Maxine, we're going to say hello to my favorite lady in the zoo, and that's Ella, our Indian rhino.
Whoa!
Queria ver o Pumba.
Say bye, elephant.
Versão asiática do Pumba. Eu quase não consegui pegar na câmera o tigre. Bem na hora que a gente passou, ele estava tipo.
As we enter the exhibit, look immediately to the right, and sitting in her mud wallow is Ella, the rock with ears. Many people describe a rhino's skin as armor-plated. It's actually just got lots of folds and needs protection from insect bites and the sun. To do this, a rhino will sit in a mud wallow, cover themselves in mud, and this acts as a natural sunscreen and insect repellent. Ella was born in 1986 and weighs 3,500 pounds. With less than 2,000 rhinos remaining in the wilds of India and Nepal, we're very fortunate to care for 5 of them here at the Bronx Zoo. Caring for rhinos is one thing, breeding is quite another. We're the luckiest zoo in the US of A. We've had 11 rhino births right here at the Bronx Zoo, the latest of which was in the summer of 2013. How many moms have I got on the train? Here's something you'll appreciate, Mom. An Indian rhino is pregnant for 16 months. And after being pregnant for almost a year and a half, she'll give birth to a baby weighing approximately 150 pounds. The rhino baby will only stay with its mother for 2 to 3 years, though weaning can take up to 16 months, so you don't have to worry about college. As we enter the second half of the exhibit, you'll see a fallen log. To the right of that fallen log is the original mud wallow, put here in 1977 when the monorail first opened. Look closely and you'll see the rhino footprints that have stomped it out to their liking. Over 15 rhinos have contributed to the size and shape of this wallow. Although they can travel up to 40 miles per hour, rhinos are endangered because of their horn, and here's more on that.
The horn of a rhinoceros is very different from that of a goat or antelope. It is not attached to the skull. Rhino horn is made from compressed keratin fibers, the same material that is found in fingernails and hair. Although rhinos are a protected species, poaching still occurs. Rhinos are killed for their body parts, as some people believe that this horn has special medicinal powers. It is also used as an ingredient in some traditional Asian medicines, and the rhino horn is also prized in some cultures for making dagger handles.
Asia is a continent with the largest number of deer species as well as deer diversity, as we'll see in this next and largest exhibit of the Wild Asia Monorail. Excuse me. If you look between the circular fences, you'll see some little medium-sized deer with white spots on them. These are called Formosan Sika deer from the island of Taiwan, formerly known as Formosa. They were hunted to near extinction in the 1970s and can only be found in national parks and zoos. The little guys are hog deer. They get their name because they're short and squat like hogs, and like hogs would rather creep and crawl under things than leap over them. The large tan animals with the black and white markings on their hooves are Nilgai antelope, largest and fastest antelope in Asia. The word Nilgai means blue bull in the Hindi language, because upon maturity you'll have a bluish-gray coat. Follow the fence line around the circle here, and you'll see some large chocolate-colored deer. These are sandbar deer, largest deer in southern Asia. Males can stand 5.5 feet at the shoulder and weigh 650 pounds. They've got a unique antler system of 3 bars with 3 points on each bar. As you come around, look back to the left. That's your best view of them. So we've got sandbar deer, neogine antelope, hog deer, and Formosan sika deer. And normally they're spread throughout the exhibit. But 5 o'clock, they all go to bed. In fact, nobody told them it's Saturday. 4:30, they're used to going to bed. So they're all huddled by the gate. All of our animals go to bed every night in the shelters. And that's where they stay all winter long in a heat-controlled climate where they feel right at home. You may be wondering why all the trees in this exhibit are wrapped in wire. It's to protect the trees from the deer and antelope. They like to clean their horns and antlers on the tree, and so doing they would rub off all the bark. The tree, there's one sitting by the rock back there. Kind of difficult to see though. Actually 2. One on top and one in front. I don't count them. Can't see them.
Não consegue ver.
Normally we get one on top of the meadow here. No such luck today. They have large canine teeth that come past their mandible, making it look like they have fangs, and giving them the nickname vampire deer. That, and when excited, they will howl, whistle, and bark like a dog. They're extremely rare in zoos outside of China. We're very lucky to have them. Look through the trees, you'll see Patty and Maxine again. Can't hide an elephant. Well, you can try, but... We're now at the highest point of our journey, 35 feet above the Bronx River. The Wildlife Conservation Society realizes how important it is to